Hare Krishna, welcome to my first ever live series. Today we're going to talk about spirituality, and with me I have the most phenomenal motivational speaker and the president of ISKON Nepal, Rupesvara GAURA. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Welcome to my live series.
Thank you. Thank you.
So, Prabhuji, I think before we talk about spirituality, we need to know what got you or attracted you to spirituality. A student of computer science. With that, how did you pursue spirituality?
Okay, so साँच्चै कुरा गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ because I was educated in science, I was like completely not spiritual at all, and I didn't have any kind of belief in religious activities and all this. We say that we are Hindu and in mandir jani, and mandir पनि किन जाने, केटीहरुलाई हेर्न जाने, all these kind of things, So definitely, but I did like software engineering, but at the same time, and I was in search of happiness, right? So I'm a kind of person that like I always want to laugh, smile, be happy, but then once in a while again, right? So this world is like full of like suffering, miseries, yeah. So I was like, I remember that was 2003, and then I was like just married. So after 1 month's time, I met one Russian devotee. Right, so Russian devotee, and I was like shocked. You like guru chala bhako manche, like with के भन्छ साधुको लुगा लगाएर पुरा आएको थियो चिन्दै पुरै. And I was like, that time I was like thinking of going to America. I was like preparing, and there comes like white-skinned guy with the robe of a monk, and I was like kind of surprised, and of course like after एकछिन कुरा गरिसकेपछि, it's like I generally tell to everyone this thing. So in the middle of the conversation, he asked me, have you read Bhagavad Gita? Now, problem ke ho bhandakari, I didn't have the answer. I've never like even read or even seen Bhagavad Gita. This is the book, and I've never seen. Right. So then at the same time, I didn't want it to be defeated by this monk. If I say no means Hindu is like Hindu got lost, in front of Vire. So then I said, come on, I mean, I'm still young, when I get old, I'll read the book. And say, oh, that means you have not read it. Well, we are living in 21st century. What is this? Is an old book. I don't know even know it's like a real or not. It's a mythology or we don't even know. We don't have any basis, right? So anyway, the book part of the 21st century, what relevance will it make? So then to end the conversation, I declared it's a rubbish book.
You just declared it's a myth.
Yeah, it's a myth. It's a rubbish book. Rubbish means like it's good enough to be thrown in the trash can, right? So then he said, oh yeah, he was cool. He should be angry with me, but he was cool, and that also surprised me. And then he said like, well, you have not read it. How do you know it's a rubbish book? All right, then. Makes sense. Then he said, you read it and then you prove it that it's a rubbish book, I'll accept it. And I thought, okay, Kuireलाई challenge garnai paryo. So I got one copy in English, and then I started like reading it. And well, first chapter padha the boring ne lagyo. It was like preface of Bhagavad Gita and all this kind of, but second chapter was like amazing. Each and every sloka was talking about the reality of life. All the questions which I used to have, like where the happiness comes from, where sadness comes from, why good thing happens to bad people, and why bad thing happens to good people, all these kind of things were answered. In each and every sloka, I was like reading some of the slokas, even I had goosebumps, from Thardoni, and I was like, wow. So after a while, I met him again, and he asked me, so kosto lagyo ta? I said, well, it's a nice book. So since then, I was like amazed that spirituality is also a science. It's an amazing book, it's amazing knowledge, and it's been now 16 years I've been practicing this, right? And then I was like, my life is like wonderful.
So coming back to what exactly is spirituality? How would you define spirituality? Where does spirituality lie in a human being?
Okay. Now, there's a big confusion, मान्छेहरुको हाम्रो समाजमा चाहिँ एउटा यो spirituality भनेको के हो, religion भनेको के हो, and it's like a big confusion is there. Means there are three things. I would always like explain in the three. There is religion, there is spirituality, and there is tradition. right? So rato tika nidarma talakka taliyo, all these kind of things. Rato tika chamalko tika laune, it's pahad ko system.
Okay.
If you go to Tarai or even India, there's no system. Even though Tarai and India, they are also like big follower of these scriptures. Rato tika chaina, they have other kind of tika. Kasaile yaha lagauncha, kasaile yaha lagauncha, kasaile. Right? So it's a tradition. Matlab group of people, ancestors, or Lijego de Aiko, we follow that. Right? So we follow that. That's the tradition. Then second is spirituality. Now spirituality means to understand our inner self.
Kind of like self-love.
Yeah. Are we the body? Are we the mind? Or are we Atma? Right? So to the journey within, we call it journey within, and going inside, and trying to find the real self. That's spirituality. In Nepali ma bhandakiri, Sanskrit ma bhandakiri, Atma Sakshatkar bhanne bhन्छ. And religion is your love for God, your connection with God. So, see, I mean, we don't know the difference, and we try to blend it, And rati naam katnu hudaina, yo dharma nashta huncha, and all this kind of, what is dharma? I mean, people even don't know anything. But if you know these things in a separate way, beautiful, you can understand it in a beautiful way.
Since we hear a lot about dharma today in the world, dharma means Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Judaism, or whatever. They're like different kind of categories that is termed as dharma. According to you, what exactly is dharma?
Okay, so in my understanding, the dharma which we use for this Christianity, Hinduism, and Islam, these are all like I'll call it like a modern religion, which doesn't have any solid basis to the real dharma, because the real dharma, the scripture, this is what we call Sanatan Dharma, which has been being practiced since time immemorial, right? So the real dharma, the meaning check bhandakari, Prabhupada would translate. The Srila Prabhupada, who is the founder acharya of this organization, ISKON, right? He would explain it in the way that it's the occupational duty, hamro kartabya ke ho, right? Now, husband ko dharma ke ho, wife ko dharma ke ho, and father ko, bua ko dharma ke ho, ama ko dharma ke ho, right? Chini ko dharma ke ho, gulyo hune, right? The day the sugar becomes salty, dharma tyag kare. Right? We cannot call it sugar anymore. So the real, natural tendency kyo, that is dharma. There are of course, like we have used that word for the defining the belief system, belief system of a group of people, tribe or people in mass, and we name it Christianity, Hinduism, right? And so you can see Hindu word comes from the Britishers. Unaharule Sindh Nadi bhanna najaneर Hind Nadi भन्थ्यो, and anybody who lives beyond this Hind Nadi is Hindu, right? So if you see in the scripture, there's no word called Hindu.
Yeah. Right. So coming back to one of the answers you gave, you said we don't know if you are this body, mind, or soul. So consciousness is the most debatable topic between philosophers and scientists.
Okay.
So I would like to quote one from well-known philosopher Aristotle, and another from Sigmund Freud.
Okay.
So Aristotle said, "For often when one is asleep, there is something in consciousness which declares that what then presents itself is but a dream." And Sigmund Freud said, "The conscious mind may be compared to a fountain playing in the sun and falling back into great subterranean pool of subconscious from which it rises." So, right now in science or philosophy, we don't have a concrete definition of what consciousness is, because consciousness is compared to a vast ocean. You think you have reached the end, but it's not the end. There's a lot to explore. And the father of psychologist Wilhelm Wundt said that in order to figure out what is consciousness, you need to approach the introspective method. Like neurologists, they try to find consciousness through cognitive psychology by thinking, feeling of one mental state. So ISKON itself is known as International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So what is the science and philosophy behind Krishna consciousness? The term itself as consciousness, what is the science behind consciousness?
Okay, so let me address it in a sequence like you have mentioned it, right? Okay, so यसमा चाहिँ के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि I was like, see, सबभन्दा पहिला the modern science को जुन faculty छ which deals with this consciousness is called psychology, right? We call it modern psychology. Now, modern psychology, and even nowadays, like there are like few fields of like science which is called quantum physics, and they have like started like researching on consciousness, because after this double slit experiment, and that when they found that even electron has like consciousness, right? So they were forced to like think about consciousness, right? So even quantum physics is like researching, and there's also like faculty called subtle science. So if you see the research work of the modern science in this field of consciousness, they are new. And modern science, they don't have much researches or like evidences to give a theory on consciousness. Whereas the spiritual science, which has been, been practiced since like a long time back and thousands of years, and which we can even like read in today's world. And when we read today, we can see the spiritual science even starts from the level of mind, not even body. Body is normal. Everyone we can see, body around. We can see our doctors. Modern medical is like so much aware about the physical body, how it works, brain, heart, and all, each and every organ. And we have developed so many like sophisticated machines like MRI, and CT scan. And there's like then ultrasound and all these kind of things,
imaging.
Yeah. So bodily platform we are like experts, but the spiritual science begins from the level of mind. Then it talks about intelligence, then atma, and all these like cognitive or like intellectual ones. ବିଭିନ୍ନ word we use, then brain and all this kind of things, very well defined in spiritual science, right? So. We are also like using the knowledge of spiritual science to like really help people who are mentally ill, not brain ill, mentally ill. There are modern psychological care. So if someone comes with a mental illness, they give the medicine about the brain like dull gardiyo, it's like sedatives or nindra lagni yatauti khwaidincha, and then dull हुन्छ तर mind is still working. That's what Sigmund Freud said, Aristotle, like you said, like about a dream. Right, so dream भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि it's a state of our body which is in rest, but mind is not in rest. So, and mind has two abilities. Mind can physically travel, right, physically, and mind can also like imagine. So sometimes we can see like akasma udiरहेको and all this kind of thing.
Does that explain in psychology what would be called a schizophrenic or someone with PTSD, right?
That's true.
So because of the mind, they're seeing things, they're hearing things. So how would spirituality define such, like you said, mind travels? How would spirituality define how mind travels? What is the reason that mind travels?
Okay, so we have three types of body. According to spirituality, we have three types of body: physical, subtle, and spiritual. Now, spiritual body we are not experiencing now because that's in the spiritual world, right? Whereas in this world we have two types of. This is physical body, and chala, dimasu, isko sarir, and then we have man, buddhi, ahankar, and the mind, intelligence, and false ego, right? That's a subtle body. Now, if you see which one is more powerful, the physical body or the mind? Right? Now this the worst part is, now each and every place I go and ask like which one is more powerful, everyone, 100% of the people, Nepal may be, and a mansiyarle cancer then man is more powerful. Now the worst part is, most of them, they don't even know what mind is. And if I ask mind cancer, this is brain. Come on, this is brain. This is dimag. See, we have different words. Dimag, man. Man cancer. Then I have to ask them, man dukhyo bhane kaha dukhcha? So that's the way that spirituality says this is the place of mind. Means it's a subtle, it's not physical, it's subtle, and it lives in the region of the heart. From here, the first effect of the mind, we're coming close to consciousness. First effect of the mind goes to the Agya Chakra. Agya Chakra governs the brain. Brain, in my computer language, it says brain works like a firmware, mind is a software, and firmware controls the five senses. The body, it controls the body. So this is how it is like This is how it is functioning. And so even the body is like unconscious. Mind is conscious. And that's why they have lots of experiments done. They call it out of the body experiment. No? You must have like studied in psychology that out of the body experience, people are like being operated, they're like chloroform, sunara, body is like unconscious, and so brain is unconscious. But still that guy comes out of the body and looks at everything, what's happening, doctors are like, and then after he comes back into the consciousness, and then when he becomes conscious, then this guy explains to the doctors, hey guys, you guys did this like this, and in medical terms. And that has been experimented, Why? Because the spiritual science says the mind, the subtle body and the physical body are two different things. We can completely separate it. So, sutireko belama, unconsciously, sometimes we can do time travel. Not dreaming. Dreaming, we can say we will perceive it as a dream. But sometimes that dream is real. And sometimes that dream is imagination. Now, if it is real, if the time has done the future time travel and come back, sometimes in real life, in reality, we will experience what we call in psychology as deja vu. And your moment, your dialogue, exactly his situation, So how that deja vu happens is your mind unconsciously, because we are not trained. Now, if we learn how to meditation and all, we can do it consciously. We can do time traveling consciously, and that's what Rishi Muni, they all do it. And they will sit in a samadhi, and then they will do the traveling.
So some would call consciousness a synonym of mind. Some would say an aspect of mind. So according to you, is it a synonym of mind or just an aspect of mind?
Wow. See, this also differs from the modern psychology, because the consciousness, consciousness goes back. It's not the product of mind at all. It's the product of Atma. Right? See, consciousness is the first thing which propagates and emanates from this Atma. And the Atma is the reason. What do we call aura? And the aura banaउँछ. Right? And त्यो consciousnessले intelligence र mindलाई empower गर्छ. Now intelligence को productलाई विवेक भन्छ, र mind को productलाई impression भन्छ. Now what comes from the mind is impression. No? हाम्रो normal language मा layman language मा भन्ने भने केटाहरु म impression जमाउन जान लाग्यो भन्छ नि.
First impression is the last impression.
Yeah, first impression is last. Impression जमाउने भनेको either you are like proposing a woman, a man, or you're going for a job interview, and you're like basically you are like के भन्छ त्यसलाई impression जमाउने भन्छ नि. But what are the first thing we start doing? Impression जमाउने भन्छ. लुगा लाउन थाल्छ, मेकअप गर्न थाल्छ, नुहाउन थाल्छ. So I have to go and the real impression happens in the level of mind. अनि त के हुन्छ हामीले फेस हेरेर एक्सटर्नालिटी हेरेर हामी इम्प्रेसिभ हुन्छ अनि पछि धोका खान्छ. So if you are able to read the mind and then create the impression in the level of mind, you'll never be deceived.
So talking about mind, as you said, mental health.
Yeah.
Right. So mental health is one of the topic that is most discussed today, given the era we live in, the digital era. I would like to take my example. For instance, I'm in an entertainment business, so I have to make sure I look better than the other. I have to make sure I stand out. Yeah. That is the nature of the entertainment industry. Similarly, if you go to schools, there's a group divided, and people, if for some misfit, let's say I have to be a certain way.
Okay.
And then, which brings in social media such as Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and all this stuff, where you have to make sure what you speak and what you do and what you present has to stand out in order to get likes, which makes you feel like you're connected socially. That has been the world of youth these days. Socially connect by which that means this person is pretty popular,
Okay.
Facebook or Insta number of followers by which they popular. So when they notion create before that, हाम्रो घरबाट एउटा kind of labeling सुरु हुन्छ. जस्तै तिमी 7 र 8 कक्षामा पढ्दैछौ र तिमी फेल हुँदैछौ भने तिमीलाई र उसको काकीको छोरी र छोरासँग कम्पेयर गरिदिन्छ, saying उसले यति मार्क्स ल्यायो तिमीले यति मार्क्स किन ल्याएनौ होइन so that itself creates a mental disturbance हुन्छ नि because pressure हुन्छ they have to think about how I can be better than the other person. That's the whole world itself has put you like your world's a competition. No, you have to run and be on the top. Within that, many people lose what we call, let's just say people lose hope. Yeah, people lose hope and willpower to actually stand out or to feel like no, I'm better and different. Doesn't matter if म त्यस्तो छु छैन. So how will spirituality will help our daily lives? How can spirituality help mental health? What can be done, to calm this mind, which is like ocean waves? So how do you calm it down?
Wow, that's too many things
within
one package. Okay. Now the first thing we have to understand is what is mental health, right? So when can we say that our mind is healthy, right? That's the first thing. So first मा के हुन्छ भन्दाखेरि mental health भनेको जस्तै हामीले body को लागि the source of food is and the source of energy is the food, and the food intake will result you are what you eat, right? So in the same way, and mind को पनि खाना छ, right? So mind को पनि and mind को खानालाई के भन्छ meditation भन्छ.
Sorry, I cut you off. So mind को पनि हजुरले खाना छ भन्छ. For us, a normal teenager, I would like to take the examples of the people I've known. So मेरो भाइ चाहिँ he listens to rap music where it talks about doing drugs, having chicks, going on a nice cars, riding bikes, but they don't get that. That's not their life, but they're listening to it, which motivates them to be like that, right? So music and entertainment itself has a huge part to play in mental health. Similarly, like our surroundings मा पनि त्यही हुन्छ. फलानाको छोराले दामी बाइक ल्यायो भने उसलाई पनि बाइक चाहिन्छ हैन. अहिले त त्यही बाइक चाहियो भन्छ. त्यही बाइकको कुराले खाना पनि खाँदैन, घरमा पनि झगडा हुन्छ. So how would, if a person who has spirituality in their life, how would they take that situation?
Okay, very well. Now I feel sorry for those who are trapped into all this race.
I think it's almost every year these
that's
days.
True. So this is also one of the reason I got attracted into spirituality. All this what you call rat race. Srila Prabhupada used to say that the whole world is in rat race. You can see all the mouses trying to, I'll get more food and this and that, male, female, and all this. It also happens in the level of rat. And Prabhupada used to say that even though you win the race, you're still a rat. Yeah. Right. So then of course then it gives us opportunity to think how to not become a rat. How to become someone who is special, someone who is different, someone who is unique, real, कसरी बन्ने, right? So yeah, again coming back to this mental health, so the mental health भनेको के हो भन्दाखेरि meditation बाट आउँछ नि. In Sanskrit it's called mantra. Mantra means to deliver the mind, right? So of course meditation go, one of the experts are Buddhists. And so I happened to meet this monk, very senior monk, very nice monk from Bhutan. And I was asking him, that was the beginning days of my spirituality, and I was asking him, excuse me sir, you practice meditation. What is meditation? I asked him. And he was answering very nicely. He says of course in the beginning he said, it's going from one dimension to the fifth dimension. And did you understand?
A little. One dimension.
What does it mean, fifth dimension? So then, of course, 1D, 2D, 3D, up to 3D, right? Then what is fifth dimension? I was thinking, excuse me, sir, I didn't understand you. And can you please explain me what this 5D, 1D is like? Then he said, well, okay, in the beginning, the man, you're a man ko mind ma, there is about 5,000 things going on, different things in a given moment. In the 10-15 second time, our mind has the capability of thinking 5,000 things. And for women, because mentally they are more stronger, 7,000.
7,000.
Yeah, 5,000 versus 7,000. Now I was thinking, wow, women are more powerful. But then he says, no, the powerful mind, the peaceful mind is that which can focus in 1 out of 5,000, 1 out of 7,000. Now means it becomes more difficult for the woman to be more focused. that's why women have the natural tendency, chanchal. Yeah, that's why they are saying Kanaka Kamini, both are chanchal. Kanaka means money and woman is Kamini. So both are like chanchal. Right? So men are more, less chanchal. Right? But don't worry, in today's world, because of lack of spirituality, even men are also chanchal.
Okay.
Right? So that's also one more tips for the equality, Right? So generally, okay, then what to do then? Then meditation like 5,000, 7,000 and then cheese or like there's one thing at a time. Now if you're cooking, let me focus on cooking. If I'm riding bike, let me focus on riding bike. But if we're riding, which is but that's what we're supposed to do. And generally we are riding a bike and then we are talking with a bomb accident. Right? This is what's happening. Gadi chalaiरहेछ, mobile chalaiरहेछ, boom, accident. Because we are multitasking. Now the powerful mind is that mind which is focused. And त्यही भएर हाम्रो बुवा आमाले टिचरहरूले हामीलाई ध्यान दियो means focus. But the problem is nobody teaches us how to focus. Right? So this is the whole set.
Sorry, I feel like our surrounding moreover teaches us how to focus on many things than one particular thing.
That's multitasking.
Yeah.
And which multitasking is the biggest problem. Okay, maybe you can achieve many things, but at the same time you lose the quality. Equality. Now see, for instance, like people, I feel surprised because I come from the era. I was born in 1974, so I'm lucky enough to see the world without all these technologies, right? Because the real technology boosting happened after 1980s, and 80s पछि आएर सुरु भएको नि. And so I saw the world without technology, and now it's like full of technology, everything around, like even like many people are watching like this live show on their like devices, and it's so advanced. Yeah, we are connected to all these things. So when I compare that era and this era, which is like a vast difference, I can see people were more peaceful that time. Because all these like technologies and advancement, Googles and like lots of Yahoo and then YouTube and all these kind of things which came, Microsoft, Apple, and which came, this brought distraction rather than concentration. And then down concentration or distraction. See, when we watch YouTube, and then we can watch movie few seconds and I don't like it, few seconds. I need to go back. Will you believe me? I used to love watching movies, right? And most of the movies there is a English movie in 1.5 hours. And 1.5 hours is the average time for the English movies, right? So I used to sit 1.5 hours and watch. Now, I don't have the ability to sit 1.5 hours and watch movie.
Why?
Because of distraction. We have been taught distraction. So what I'm doing, I'm just watching like 5 minutes ko video pani herna ahile jab लाग्छ. It has to be 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Okay, that's possible.
But there are like so many youngsters who binge watch series, like for instance, I would like to talk about a famous series, Money Heist. My father himself, he watched the series in like 3 days, continuous hit. So obviously I know what entertainment business has to make the other person kind of attracted to them. So I know what goes inside that business to make the audience feel like, okay, I just want to keep watching that.
Yeah.
So you just said you don't feel like watching a movie for 1.5 hours because your mind is telling you.
Well, of course, some movies, good movies, of course, I do watch. But then I'm talking about before I used to watch any movie for 1.5 hours, any movie. So what I mean is see, before there were like TVs, television, and the TV ma unale je dekhayo puriराख्नु पर्ने, हेरिराख्नु पर्ने. There's no fast forward and anything, skip or
you just have to
scroll.
watch.
You just have to watch. So that time we were practicing more patience. But nowadays everything is in the fingertips. And then and it's instant. You can just skip whatever you don't like. And even the programs you're talking about, seasons and all these kind of things, most of the people watch highlights. They will skip seasons and then just see the conclusion, and then they will go to friends and that season they will do like this and all this. This is happening. This is happening, and I've seen many youngsters, the way they watch movie, 1.5 hour, 3 hours movie, they skip. And any long talk, like even to attract you.
A talk that does not attract an individual, they skip it.
Yeah.
For instance, my father would find it boring when two lovers came and talked in Money Heist. He would just be like, skip it.
Yeah. And if I watch Hindi movies, I'll skip the songs.
Oh yeah.
That's boring anyway. Of course, like someone will focus to and watch the songs, like it depends, right? So with this technology, we have been taught distraction rather than focus, right? So mental health is directly proportional to the meditation. Means like if mind is focused, see, sometimes like you are like agitated, like so many things going on in your business, your career, and this and that, your boyfriend just ditched you, or like all these things going on, and you come back home and then just listen to the music.
Yeah.
Like even rap music, and it motivates you, not with
if my boyfriend ditched me, I would like to listen to Cardi B and be like, okay, screw that person, and then that's done.
Yeah, but then you listen to that and you be focused, and then you become peaceful. So that's the point. And भनेको मतलब एउटा चीजमा तपाईले जब फोकस गर्नुहुन्छ नि, and then that time your mental health becomes like very good. So now तर problem के छ भन्दाखेरि मान्छेले मेडिटेसन भन्दा साथै टक्क बसेर ओम गर्नलाई मात्र मेडिटेसन भन्छ. तर होइन, meditation can happen every second of your life. Means you just have to focus on what you are doing. 100% focus, 100%. And what is the advantage? एकदमै राम्रो quality हुन्छ. Whatever you do, that quality goes like 100%. Now another distraction is like, see, nowadays we go anywhere, rather than we enjoy like all these like moments or situations or so can you imagine like people are going, friends are there dancing, everyone starts like taking out their mobile phone and capturing that moment.
Like bystanders. Did you sit there and then record it?
Yeah, just experience that situation. And then not only that, now one guy starts like taking video, then other guy thinks मेरो फोनमा पनि हुनुपर्छ. And everyone starts like taking out their mobile.
Competition, like
competition. Who is first one to like put it live, put it online, So all this kind of, so means that really destroys the situation. Yeah, let's enjoy the moment. For example, and many of my friends would say me, hey, photo kiss, and I said like, no, let me enjoy this moment. Let me sit with it. This is after a long time I've been meeting, I've come to meet you people. Let me enjoy this moment. Why should I capture it? Yeah, capture it. Let me put it in my heart. So I'm lucky in that sense. Like I come from the era where there is like very less technology, than like that. So this is one thing about the mental health. Then another thing about mental health is like the food is meditation for the mind, right? Then another thing is positive thinking, right? So what do you call good in, good out, garbage in, garbage out. Like you said, if you hear rap songs with all these like dirty things, especially, I would say dirty because that spoils. So if you go and kiss a girl in front of in the street, what effect that makes in the public? It's always bad.
It's very open and free in America. Sometimes many of the youth take it as freedom of expression. So, which they do not know it's backfiring then, right? So how do you differentiate between like you said?
I would like to explain you about this with my own experience. In '95, I went to Australia. So my mama took me to a park. And then we said like, wow, this is a special park, this is famous for something. I said, what thing? Something, come, I'll just show you. So when I was taken to that park, I could see like people were like not kissing each other. No, they were like smooching and then even in one corner I saw like they were like even doing sex. Open. You know what came in my mind? My God, these people are like cats and dogs. Because it's only cats and dogs who does everything on the street. They don't mind. No, but people are given like very high intelligence, very high intelligence, and there is thing called culture. There is thing called shyness. No, and when these private things are done in a private thing, because it's the union of like man and woman is about exchange of the feelings. Come on, man, this is not a show business that you go out in the street and then like you express your feelings. Yeah, the freedom of expression happens in the room. You know, it happens in the room. And freedom of expression happens if you can truly be with a man or a woman for a lifetime. Not ditch that person. That's freedom of expression. It's not like cats and dogs, you know, today you're with one person and then tomorrow with another person. You know, you understand that?
Yeah, of course.
Right? So of course, like, so it's about like positive thinking, you know. So there are certain things, you know, which we think that, oh, smoking is freedom, you know, marijuana pani free huनुपर्छ, it's medicine bhanirahछ हैन सबै. These people are making all this kind of like, I mean, comments, you know, but यसले नराम्रो नै गर्छ हैन. You know, marijuana smoke गर्यो भने, you know, like you get stoned. There are so many things which you do and then you don't remember. And sometimes like these things are like, I mean, nonsense. And I still remember I used to drink a lot, and then after drinking, what we used to do is like go and smash the
windows.
The light on the street, and street lights, and smash it. That used to be our sports, you know. And then we and most of the time we were doing unconsciously.
So when you're intoxicated, you're not conscious.
Yeah.
You're not conscious.
And most of the time you do the wrong thing.
Yeah. I definitely agree.
Yeah.
Because I myself have couple of years. I think my whole life has been I have indulged in intoxication so much that I don't know how I behave with certain people, why I behave with certain people. Now that I think back, I think like, why did I do that? You know, sometimes I want to go and ask that person, you know, why I did that. But then I think to myself, I will start thinking, oh, I should just shut it.
That's true. That's true. Very true. Yeah. Even I have experienced that.
Yeah.
You know, being a Nevar family, I used to drink, I used to smoke, you know, marijuana and everything. I have experienced like for many years, you know, and then what I found is like, okay, I mean, for a moment, like it gives us like some kind of
enjoyment. I think
pleasure,
I feel like you're out of that context. For in my experience, whenever I did that, I did not know what was happening around me. I was not aware of it, which I think I liked it because it was ignorance. I don't know what it was, but I think I liked it.
But then, can you imagine? Like, I used to drink a lot, right? Yeah. And then I'm a very shy person, means like who doesn't know how to dance, right? So what I used to, the only thing for me to dance is I used to get drunk, and then I can dance. You know what that means?
The confidence.
Yeah, I get the confidence. You know what that means? म कसरी नाचे भनेर थाहा पाउनको लागि I have to wait next day. Yeah. When my friend comes and explains, म त यसरी नाचे थिएँ, and then I said, "Hora." And then I used to think, you know, what is the use of dancing unconsciously? And मलाई के मजा भयो? मजा त मेरो साथीहरुलाई भयो छ. Right? So means if I am able to dance consciously without intoxication, that's real enjoyment. No?
Yeah. Many relationships are broken because of intoxication also. In my case, that has been that. But, you know, because we live in an environment where drinking, smoking has been normalized, because, you know, the big corporate companies, they provide you alcohol. In fact, they provide you anything, you know. Whatever you're saying harms your body is being freely provided by big corporates. It is one of a money-making strategy also, but we're falling under it. That's there. But how can a person really understand, someone who has done it so much of it, understand that, okay, you know, this is not it. This is not, you know, this is, I have to experience more than this. How would you tell a person
this is where the spirituality comes in. Right? Now अब भनौँ न आध्यात्मिक ज्ञानहरु हामीले spirituality practice गर्नलाई के गर्ने, you have to put on this, you have to put on dhoti. It's not necessary. And I'm doing this because I'm into preaching, right? So when I go to different places, I talk about like spirituality, I talk about God, shirt, pant, tie, shoot लगाएर मैले भगवानको बारेमा बोल्दा अहिले सुहाउँदैन होला. That's why I put all this attire, right? But basically spirituality means, you know, developing the analytical power, right? When your analytical power is enhanced, means the intelligence is sharpened, and then you have the ability to, you know, like decide properly. Now, this also I do experiment. When I go to lots of youth who are there in the mass, I ask them, how many of you think smoking is bad? I ask them, almost everyone raised their hand. Everyone.
They smoke, they raise their hand.
Yeah, they raise. And how many of you smoke? And so many, 70-75% raise their hand. You know, so they know that the smoking is bad, but then they still smoke. Why? Because they don't have analytical power. Right? So So analytical power means sharpen intelligence. Now intelligence le ke garcha bhanda right or wrong chutहुन्छ कि. So decision making power means right and wrong. पैसा कहीं लगानी गर्यो त्यो ठाउँबाट प्रफिट आउँछ कि आउँदैन हैन आउँछ भने गर्ने नआउँछ भने नगर्ने that's intelligence ना बुद्धि. So when we just blindly like put money anywhere, that's called buddhu, not buddhi हैन बुद्धिमान हैन बुद्धु भन्छ, not intelligent.
But how do you avoid it, you know? For instance, for me, if I go to Europe, I'll be like, wow, the wine is specialty over. I have to try that wine, you know. And then sometimes you sit around with friends, and it has sort of become like, okay, Garnita, let's do this, let's do that. So, what do you think needs to come in society in order to make you feel like, hey, you can enjoy beyond that, okay?
It's the same thing, you know. Again, the spirituality teaches us that, and the intelligence is right and wrong. What is right, what is wrong, it knows. But the mind doesn't care. Mind only cares for one thing, desire. I want. You know, want. So if you go to New York, and the mind says, I want wine.
I want pizza.
I want pizza. I want wine. I want wine. I mean, you eat pizza like anything, you know, and then you don't care about like obese or anything, you know. And then later on you see like, oh my God, I put on some weight, like 5 kilos in like 1 week, you know, that's too much, you know. But then if the person is spiritual, you know, how it acts in that spiritual person is the mind becomes sharpened, the intelligence becomes sharpened, and intelligence says, no, this is bad. If you want to eat pizza, fine, enjoy it, but in limit. This is the limit, and enjoy it, right? Because Ayurveda says food is medicine. You know, you're what you eat, right? So like this. So the intelligence is, all the intelligent men will eat sumptuously, but enough, not overeat. You know, and then if you see all those successful people in life, you know, like you name like anyone in the rich category. Elon Musk.
I saw his interview where he tried blunt for the first time, and he was like, "Oh, I tried it for the first time, and it's gone."
Yeah. Then you can see like Bill Gates or like what do you call this? Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook wala and all these kind of things, you know. And you name it in the category of scientists. And if you see all, they have really disciplined life. They would not do anything which harms the aim of their life. But us laymen, what do? We try each and everything. We go around, you know, try like, all sorts of things, you know, jack of all, master of none. You know, so we try, okay, we let the wine पनि taste गर्दै छ, यो पनि खाएको छ, उ पनि खाएको छ, come on, man. And first you have to have aim in life, then how to get into that aim, be disciplined. You know, one of the business philosophers, he said that there are two pains. One is pain of discipline, the other is pain of regret. And pain of regret is always higher than the pain of discipline. And so it means that when we have disciplined life, when we have proper intelligence, you know, which intelligence to guide the restless mind. And Arjun says, Chanchalam hi mana Krishna pramati balabhadri. In Bhagavad Gita, the 6th chapter, right? So he says like, my mind is restless, my mind is obstinate, you know, very powerful, balbanza, jiddi sa, jiddi. You know, it's like Kiran. It's like Shahrukh Khan, he brings this like movie, and these are famous because it's the show of the mind. You know, or like there is a song, Ama malai tei keti chahicha. No, why? Two ketile reject garyo, get another one. There are 3.5 billion women, man.
They're using stream of consciousness.
Yeah, so the mind becomes attached. Mind becomes attached. Then the intelligence says, no, don't be attached. There's another opportunity also. But then the problem is there is no mechanism, there is no education system in today's world which teaches us how to use the intelligence properly. And this spirituality is only teaching us analytical power, decision making.
Coming back to education, since you mentioned it, in schools we are taught at the level in 1, 2, 3 and SLC. So we're just preparing for this board examination, which determine until pachi A levels or +2 गर्छौं अनि त्यसपछि हामी ब्याचलर्स गर्छौं मास्टर्स गर्छौं पीएचडी गर्छौं हैन के को लागि भन्ने एउटा करियर र जब बनाउनको लागि त्यो एक किसिमकोले वर्डले सेटै गर्दिसक्यो कि तिमीसँग यो डिग्री छैन भने तिमी हामीसँग काम गर्न पाउँदैन है So there are like many people who are lost, you know. Even if you go to Harvard and you have Harvard degree, they still haven't found a better job to pay for what they have learned, you know. So त्यति बेला त, you know, a student will feel like I've lost it. 25 वर्षमा मान्छेले पैसा कमाउन जब पाइसक्छ, 30 वर्षमा बिहा गरेर गाडी पाइसक्छ। मैले त्यो पनि गरेको छैन, म के गर्ने हैन, म के गर्ने भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ how will spirituality, like I said, meditation is one of them, but what context of spirituality will actually help that individual move forward in life, you know, to see the life in this different perception, you know, beyond what this world has created for us. Labeling को चाहिँ क्रिएट गरिदिएको छ, छोरा भने यस्तो, छोरी भने यस्तो, पढाइ गरेपछि यो लाइक अमेरिकन भने यस्तो, नेपाली एउटा सेट भइसक्यो नि, यो वर्ल्ड सेट भइसक्यो, त्यो भन्दा बाहेक कसरी हेर्ने?
So it's like this. सबभन्दा पहिला त you know, our education system is incomplete. And मैले किन incomplete भनेको भन्दाखेरि education, हामी स्कुल जाँदैमा we don't learn everything. What we are like trained up is like we are skilled and talented. त्यति चाहिँ हुन्छ, हामी स्कुल maybe less of talent, more of skill. And we are like skillful बनाइन्छ. Just like I'm an engineer, so as soon as I get some opportunity and I change the reality into programming. Software, कसैलाई softwareले कसरी एड गर्ने भनेर I convert. That's a skill. And एउटा जुत्ता बनाउने मान्छेले जुत्ता बनाउँछ, that's a skill. And एउटा इन्जिनियरले घरको like पिलर्सहरू like कसरी राख्ने स्ट्रेन्थहरू हेर्छ, सबै हेर्छ, आर्किटेक्टले डिजाइन गर्छ. These are all skills. अनि यही स्किललाई हामीले के भन्ठानेको छ भन्दाखेरि we think that this is life education. No, so when I was in bachelor, when I was doing bachelor, I happened to ask to a maths teacher, which I was not supposed to do. मैले के भन्यो भने, excuse me sir, you are making us engineer, but I want to become a happy engineer. There's a vast difference between an engineer and a happy engineer. Completely different, because that happy thing is all in all. People do everything, पैसा कमाउने, boyfriend girlfriend बनाउने, बिहा गर्ने, बच्चा पाउने, everything for happiness. But then we end up like being sad.
Yeah.
Right? Then where is that happy thing? And the day I got like engineering degree, I was not happy. Why? Because the day I got the degree, I came to know that I have to go to each and every company like a dog and say, please give me job, please give me job, please give. And some of them even threw my file. You know, then I said like, that's an insult. I have been working for years like to get this degree, and then you don't appreciate it. You know, just because like I don't come to the level of what they think, you know, they cannot insult me, right? So that's why I was sad. Then I was thinking, what the hell this world is, you know, like you do so much hard work. Then I realized in our schools and colleges, you know, what we call education has not, you know, we have not been provided the life education, the value education, the spiritual education, right? So life ma पछाडी गएर के गर्ने त भन्दाखेरि त्यही happiness हुने हो, हैन, मान्छेलाई help गर्ने हो, right? When can you imagine like when you want to like choose a life partner, do you do calculation? 4 plus 4 is 3, and then these, and then let me see which formula will give me the accurate like analysis of this person.
Yeah.
It doesn't. No, neither science does. No, nor English language does, nor Nepali. You know, so this is what we are like being taught. All right. So the spirituality, all in all, what we think is about like attitude, character, forgiveness, tolerance, all this power which are like essential in everyday life. Right? Even मैले skill प्राप्त गर्छु भने पनि हैन, मैले skill को लागि म educate हुन्छु भने पनि I need discipline, I need determination. That determination कहाँबाट आउँछ यसले सिकाउँछ. हैन, तर we are not being taught. Right? So that teacher, when I asked like I want to become happy engineer, oh, you know what he answered me? He said like, we'll make you engineer, happiness you find yourself. I said like, why sir? I mean, I think he was like 55 to age more. Means he has lived his life. I said, excuse me sir, I mean, you don't know happiness? He says, no, I don't know happiness till now. That really struck me. I mean, if he doesn't know one who has lived a life for that thing, and that time I was like young, and I was thinking, oh my God, I mean, if this guy doesn't know happiness, what the hell I'm doing is studying under him, you know? I need to find a guru who can teach me happiness. Then later on I came to know that it's spirituality which teaches me.
Again, coming back to mental health, I say mental health is when you focus on one particular thing that's when you can determine if you're healthy or not.
Yeah.
But in psychology or in this modern science itself, we have termed mental health, depression some, autism some, schizophrenic some, you know. There's like there are many labels that we have put as if a person is behaving in a certain way, is autistic. Okay. Because of that, in the world itself, like differently here. So people think there is no capability in him to do better. I don't know if it's in a better way, they termed it autism, depression and stuff. Why, I don't know why they termed it, but they have termed it. Now we have to accept the fact that you mental health issues over here. Accept garne parisakyo, you know. How do you connect with people? Let's take a very how do you connect with people who are going through depression, you know, to let them know that this is not depression, you know, this is just your mind that is bewildering you, you know. Because like you said, we need meditation, we need spiritual gurus. Since we lack it so much, how do we reach out to them as an individual? They're spiritual or no, but like a little knowledge that you have, that you can give them a hope, you know, whatever people are saying, it's different.
Well, the first thing is like all these diseases which are termed like, you know, all these like hallucinations and schizophrenia and all this like kind of thing, and all these kind of things are like curable. But then, of course, they are not curable taking sedatives. Now, in my childhood, I had like epileptic symptoms, like let's say not much, but 3 times I fainted, you know. Then I was given like medicine, which is like kind of I took like you know, like certain medicine, but in the beginning they gave me like sleeping tablets. You know, that time I was in grade 6, and then my performance in the class was reduced, because most of the time I was like drowsy. From the morning I was like given that medicine, you know. And epileptic symptoms are based on the brain thing. That's why I was like, okay, means like taking those medicines, I was cured. And I was cured, like, of course, like it happened again later on when I was young, when I was teenage, then I took like medicine again for 3.5 years and it cured. But there are diseases which are termed mental disease, not brain disease, now which are not curable by taking all these medicines. You know, so mental health ko lagi, we have to go and dwell in the level of mind. Right now, the problem with modern science, like kasto huncha bhanda modern science ko euta perspective cha, and unharko findings cha, unharko research cha. Now, with using ECG and all this kind of like electromagnetic things, you know, and MRI or use garera, you cannot study the state of mind. State of mind study garnako लागि mind ke level ma garnu parcha. Now we are doing the mistake that we are trying to check the mind from the physical level, which is not possible. And there is no device in the world which can read the mind, cannot. And so त्यसको लागि mindकै level ma जानु पर्छ. Means like even the modern science, they have to uplift themselves, which they are also trying. I heard like there's a group of young scientists in America who have done the research and found that mind and brain are different. Good on them.
But again, many people complain, you know, like most of the neurologists will be like, mind is totally your brain, you know, it's just in the brain, nothing else, nothing beyond
and
that.
They have also termed like mind, subconscious mind, you know, id, ego, superego, and all this. Like basically, see, id is like instinct, you know, like Sigmund Freud, like he explained, like id is like instinct, and so instinct comes from the level of mind in spirituality, and superego is the intelligence, right? So superego is the intelligence, and ego is like it's like uncontrolled mind, you know, uncontrolled mind. There is positive mind, negative mind, and there is intelligence. Now Sigmund Freud le दिएको definition मा त आत्मा त फिटै भएको छैन, आत्मा त आउँदै आउँदैन. And he cannot like explain it. Okay, he has done it, but given in a different name. So in the same way, like there's mind and subconscious mind. Now subconscious mind is intelligence. If you see all this, like I forgot his Bob something, like who is also like good researcher on the psychology, you know, Bob
Proctor. I think he's very famous, a researcher.
Yeah, kind of like, I mean, he also explained about like mind. When I was like watching his like explanation on this, exactly, it's mind, intelligence, not mind and subconscious mind. And so mind and intelligence, like there is like rational part of the brain, there is cognitive part of the like mind, and there is like a what do you call vivek, like English intellect. There's intellect from the intelligence, you know. So all this like put together, we can really like understand. Sanchai ke bhane मान्छेहरु कस्तो छ, उनीहरुको mental health कस्तो छ, उनीहरुको intelligence कस्तो छ. No, their intelligence level कस्तो छ, यो सबै चीज हेरेर चाहिँ हामीले actually हामीले analyze गर्न सक्छौं. So now in the case of like people who are in depression, right? Depression starts from stress. Stress develops into anxiety. It becomes habit.
Is it true that anxiety somehow we are born with anxiety?
No, I mean, see, stress is a symptom when our body shows when a given situation is like a little tough. And a stress, अनि अघि भने जस्तै हैन पढ्नु पर्यो गर्नु पर्यो गर्न अनि त्यो अनि जस्तै भनौँ न मसँग 100 पेजेस पढ्नु पर्छ 2 दिनपछि एक्जाम छ हैन त्यो अलिकति अननेचुरल स्टेज हुन सक्छ त्यो स्ट्रेस आउँछ नाउ व्हेन यु डु दैट इन अ रेगुलर बेसिस दैट डेभलप्स इन्टु एंजाइटी नाउ एंजाइटी इज अ डिजीज स्ट्रेस इज नट अ डिजीज स्ट्रेस इज अ सिम्पटम हैन as soon as when the body ले कोप गर्न सक्ने माइन्ड ले कोप गर्न सक्ने एबिलिटी भन्दा बढी चीज आउन सक्छ स्ट्रेस हुन्छ Now, when you do it in a regular basis, that develops into anxiety. And if you don't take care of the anxiety, it develops into depression. Now, the worst part of depression is, once you get into the depression level, no one can help you.
Only it stays with you.
Yeah, only you can help yourself. भनेको मतलब के हो थाहा छ? Now, depression, I mean, those who are into depression, I know, those friends, I know you should not be, I mean, worried. My depression burden is, you can come out of it. Now, what you have to do is simply sharpen your intelligence. Sharpen your intelligence. Kasari intelligence. Now, spirituality talks all about like buddhi yoga, whatever one says. All about like intelligence. Now, intelligence badao, naturally depression by down. Depression happens in the level of mind.
I vouch for that because my story itself was that when I went to America, I think that's when I got the time to picture it out of the intoxication zone and be really aware of my surroundings, you know. That's when I realized the wrongdoings and right doings. And that's when I actually started understanding Bhagavad Gita. Before that, I could not even contemplate what this line or this word was trying to say. Like you said, depression is something that stays with you. I feel like we live in a world that is already depressed. So in a way, everyone is depressed. I feel like everyone
is depressed. We are trained to be depressed.
We are trained to be depressed.
Yeah.
So like you said, Bhagavad Gita helps. And I would like to come to the fact and the point that in spirituality itself, there are like numerous organizations who are giving you something, you know. Either you go stay up in the Himalayas for 14 days without talking, without taking anything, you train your mind. And then someone says, you know, be inactive. Someone gives you, we have all this kind of meditation that's available on YouTube itself. So how can an individual find and say, okay, this is the right spirituality that I want to get into, this will give me what I want? And how can a person, you know, filter all that's around you? Because digital world, now you have so many things available, choices there is. So how do you come and say like, okay, this spirituality is right for you?
Okay, so there is no good and bad spirituality.
Okay. So everyone in an aspect is giving you something.
Not exactly like that. So what I can put it in this way is like spirituality is all true. There's only good spirituality. There's no bad spirituality. But what is good and bad is the people who are giving.
Okay.
So what is the motivation? Right? There are some people in the name of spirituality when they are thugs. They want to like get money out of you. Right? And there are like certain people who has little knowledge about spirituality and they come out there and then like use fancy words and then boast and then put you in like, because like the normal people is not going to understand it anyway, you know, and then take advantage from you. And there are people who are really giving real spirituality, right? So the spirituality is all true, but how people are using it, misusing it matters. Like a knife. You know, knife, you can kill a person and with a doctor using that knife, you know, or like a blade, you know, you can also like operate and save a person. So in the same way, people are using spiritual. Now it has become like a tradition that spiritual people are making good earning. You see, they are becoming millionaires and billionaires using spirituality, and it's deadly. You know, deadly. I've been warning like quite a lot of like people, and be careful. And once I know the level of your mind and intelligence, I can use or misuse you very easily, because mind is more powerful than the body. When a body ko level ma, and I can put you chains and make you slave. That's what happened in America. No, all these like blacks were like brought to America like for slavery, right? In the same way, if I know your mind, you know, if I know your intelligence, level of intelligence, without putting physical chain on you, I can make, you know, you my subordinate. right? So that's why, what is the solution? The knowledge. So each and every one has to take the proper knowledge, and राम्रो ज्ञान लिनु पर्यो, राम्रो personसँग properly, and then कसरी check गर्ने? So the scriptures, they say three things: Guru, Sadhu, and Shastra. We have tried